It's September the 1st. That can only mean one thing. It is time for So Phoenix September 25. Hello, my name's Sam and I am 1/3 of the team for the new challenge, So Phoenix September. So that's me, Sam, my lovely friend Rachel, who's the French Seams, and my lovely friend Catherine, who is Soberton Makery, and us three make up the team for So Phoenix September. Rachel and Catherine will be joining me later in this video to help me introduce you to the challenge. So stay tuned and you will see them in a little bit. But first, sit back, relax, grab yourself a cuppa, and I'll tell you all about this brand new challenge. So what is So Phoenix September Sewing Challenge all about? Well, have you ever made something and thought, I could do better than that? This make deserves better than that. If so, this challenge is for you. So the idea of this challenge, it is a Instagram sewing challenge with prizes, I might add. And if you have not got a Instagram public account, then you can enter this via email. So it is open to all and worldwide. So wherever you are in the world, there are prizes for you. So the first thing you need to do is pick a make. So a make that deserves a second chance, a make that deserves a bit of a glow up, a make that deserves, a little bit more tender love and care. Then what you have to do is recreate it. So you make the make again. And hopefully with the hashtag So Phoenix September help, if along the way you get a little bit stuck, then pop on Instagram with that hashtag and someone will help you. Share it. So you can share this anytime throughout September. So from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, anytime in September at all, you can share it. And how you share it is on Instagram and or via email. So whichever you do need to tell us where you are in the world. You do need to tag us all in. I will pop all of our details down below, and I know that the other ladies will be telling you all about that as well. And use the hashtag So Phoenix September 25. If you are not entering but you just want to show us your work in progress, then of course you can use the hashtag So Phoenix September 25 WIP. And you can show us your work in progress. So it's as simple as that. So Rachel, Catherine and I are going to be coming back later in the month, in the middle of the month, and we are going to be telling you all about what our plans are for this challenge. So that will give you a little bit more inspiration and we will tell you all about what we've all decided to do. But first of all, I thought I'd just take you back a little bit into my sewing journey and give you a little example of something that you could do that I've actually done already, and it was just part of my sewing journey. So one of the very first things that I made was the Ogden cami. Now, I know a lot of sewers and I know a lot of sewers start with a simple top. You might even Google a simple top. And the Ogden cami comes up quite a lot, and I thought, you know what, I can start with a nice simple top. That will be easy to do. And I did, and I made a very nice little Ogden cami. Ta-da! Was it perfect? No. Did I love it? Yes, I did. Did I wear it? Absolutely. But I knew straight away I could improve it. So you have to think about what different ways could you improve that make that's not quite right. Perhaps you haven't got the fit quite right. Perhaps you need to think about doing a full bust adjustment. Perhaps the insides aren't as neat and tidy as you want them to be. Perhaps you might think about learning French seams as a skill. Now this one, I did actually do French seams, and when I first did it, I was actually quite proud of it because I thought, oh, that looks nice and neat inside that French seam. But as it's worn and got older, then it's not as tidy as I thought it was in the first place. So I've improved. My French seams are much better now because I've practiced and I've improved them. And then I went on and made another Ogden cami, and this time I thought much more carefully about how I was going to finish the seams. As you can see, everything feels a lot neater because I just had another go. So I didn't really change anything about it very much. I just had another go and made it a little bit neater. And this time I actually had my overlocker. So I overlocked the seams inside. Then I was starting to think, hang on a minute. Is this kind of heavy cotton the right fabric for an Ogden cami? So I had a play at a different one. I tried this lovely, much lighter weight cotton. It's a cotton lawn, much lighter weight, and it flows a lot nicer and it fits a lot nicer and I wear it a lot more. The other thing that I did is, although I love these prints, I'm always going to be a pattern princess. I love prints, I love colour. I thought actually that first make is not something that I'm going to be able to pick up and wear all of the time. So I went for something that I knew was going to go with everything. It doesn't have to be a big change, and your make doesn't have to be something that you didn't like. It just has to be something about it that you have decided that with the skills that you have now, you can change and you can make better. So my last Ogden cami, the one that I made, I think I had another one in between this one, but I can't find it. If I can find it, I will put pictures up at the end, is this one. So for this one, I really decided to think really carefully about all of the things that I'd learned from the other one. So I wasn't wearing them because I was feeling very self-conscious about the way that it fitted me. So I popped a little flounce on. I used a YouTube video and I learned how to do this. And you know what? It's now a really elevated top. I get so many compliments when I wear this. People ask me, what shop did you buy that from? And I can happily say I've made it. And it's just gives me real joy and happiness. I made it in a viscose, which is nice and light and drapey. This was the first hem that I did using my hot hemmer. And as you can see I'm slightly embarrassed showing you this one, but I wasn't great at hemming, but just with a tool. So it may be something, now you've got a tool, that may be your improvement. Who knows? So yeah, so whatever it is, whatever you now know that you didn't know before, try that. So just remember, your first make doesn't have to be absolute devastation into diamonds. It can just be something that you know that you can do a little better. You've given it a bit of a touch up, a tidy up, a bit of a glow up. That is enough. Equally, if you have something in mind that was completely disastrous, completely unwearable, something went totally wrong, then of course, that is fine too. We're not asking for perfection. We're just asking for your sewing practice. So just before I pass you over to the lovely Rachel, I just want to invite you all to join. Whoever you are, if you're here and you sew, you are invited to join our challenge. Whether you've been sewing for 2 weeks or 20 years or 50 years, you are invited to join our sewing challenge. Whatever your sewing ability, whatever your sewing prowess, if you like to sew bags and your first make was a bag, just a simple tote bag, and you know you can do a lot better, then do that. You are invited to join, and we are really looking forward to seeing your makes. Okay, Rachel, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sam. Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and I am so excited that it is finally September and that it is the kickoff of the Sew Phoenix September Challenge. I'm really looking forward to this challenge and I hope that you are too, and I really do hope that as many of you as possible can join in with us. I love sewing challenges and I try to be involved in as many as I possibly can. I think it's a really fun way of being involved in the sewing community. I think it's a great opportunity to maybe be introduced to new sewists, to support and be introduced to new sewing vloggers. You can always follow along on the hashtag here on YouTube and also over on Instagram. By using that hashtag, I always get inspiration by following along with other sewist journeys. I find it really, really great. With sewing challenges, I always find that I can be totally creative. You might have to do some out of the box thinking. You might be pushed out of your comfort zone ever so slightly. It's really, really fun. I also always pick up some tips and tricks from other sewists along the way. I always discover new pattern companies, new small businesses, which is really, really great. Which brings me along to another fun part of a sewing challenge, is that you might be in line to win a wonderful prize. And we're really, really grateful to the wonderful supporters and sponsors of this challenge. We really, really do appreciate your support, so thank you very much. So thinking about this challenge really made me reflect on my own sewing journey and how far I've come. So for those of you who don't know, I started sewing about 8 years ago. I went to a local sewing class. We learned how to do a little cotton skirt. It was a little bit too short, so I never actually wore it. Back then, I didn't know anything about altering patterns, about grading patterns, which of course I now do, which is marvellous. I do it on almost every single pattern. I think it's one of the main benefits to being able to sew your own clothes, in that you can make them to any specification you like, which is wonderful. So back then the class was really, really good. I really did enjoy it. In that class I was introduced to indie pattern companies and also to Instagram, and of course down the rabbit hole I went and never looked back. I made some wonderful friendships back in those days and really got to know pattern companies, fabric shops, all that good stuff, and I followed along with Instagrammers and vloggers back in those days as well. So back then I didn't have my sewing room like I do now. I sewed in the kitchen downstairs, so I used to have to put away all my sewing things and then take them all back out again when I wanted a sewing day. Now of course I'm exceedingly lucky to have this little sewing room to call my own, which I just love. So I have my machine set up, I can set up all my projects, my little iron, everything, and have a wonderful time sewing, and then leave and close the door and come back in at another time. I'm very, very lucky to call this space my own. So back in the start of my sewing journey, I was a little bit anxious to start some sewing patterns, didn't really know a lot of the terminology, but of course then I just devoured Instagram, learned about every single sewing technique. I thought Instagram was a wonderful way to learn, and of course through other vloggers as well. I bought a number of sewing books, which was great. I bought the Tilling the Buttons books and the Sew Over It books back in the day, which was wonderful. I think those books are really, really great and I still refer to them now. I did of course attempt some slightly trickier makes back when I first started, but of course you don't know what you don't know. So I made a blouse out of georgette, which I don't think I'd ever attempt to now, but I did only a couple of months into my sewing journey. It hasn't really lasted the test of time, but never mind. But I just had really, really fun with my sewing back in the early days. And then enter the COVID years, and that's when I decided to start my sewing vlog. So back in those days, of course, there was no socials, there was no sewing meetups, nothing like that during COVID, and I just found YouTube a wonderful way to reach out to other sewists and sewing vloggers all across the world, which is just wonderful. Another reason why I think the sewing community is great, in that you can talk sewing to anybody in the four corners of the world. So I had a wonderful time starting that vlog, and of course I still really enjoy doing it now. So that was about 4.5 years ago now at this stage. So I've made the most wonderful friends across that time as well, and of course I have learned loads. So I love learning all the time in my sewing, so I look at other people's tutorials, look at their vlogs, see what they're doing, and I now, and I never thought I would, have my own little tutorials on my channel. So I've been able to share what I've learned as well, which I really enjoy doing. So whenever I learn a new technique or a new way of doing stuff, I'm really, really keen to share it with you all. So on my vlog I've got a tutorial on how to do a little neck binding, a little tote bag, I think, a little iPad stand, and I do have a sew along for the Billy sweatshirt. So I never thought that I'd be in the position that I'd be able to share my sewing knowledge with others, which I really, really enjoy. So back in the early days as well, I never thought that I'd be able to unleash so much creativity. So now these days I really enjoy making things like Halloween costumes for my boys, making World Day book costumes, which is marvellous. Now I can tackle things like jeans for myself, which was always on my sewing bucket list, so I'm delighted to say I've ticked that off. I can tackle things like a lined jacket, which I really enjoyed making. So some of these things that I never ever thought I could attempt, I now can, with the help, of course, with a little bit of the resources from YouTube and of course from Instagram as well. One part of my sewing journey as well is, of course, getting to meet people in real life, which I love doing. So meeting people in real life at socials, meeting people at shows, meeting people at retreats, which is really great. And of course, you're always constantly improving and learning from others, which is really, really good fun. I can't tell you how many wonderful friends I've made along the way. And of course, now being able to host this challenge with two of those wonderful friends, Sam and Catherine, which is just wonderful. So looking back to my very, very early days and now looking to where I am now, it's just wonderful. But I'm very, very keen now to recreate some of the makes that I made back in those early days. Maybe not the Georgette blouse, but we'll see how we go. So I think looking back to how far you've come, about the techniques you've learned along the way, about how you can now read a pattern, you can alter a pattern, you can tweak a pattern ever so slightly. You can, if you want to substitute in a different finishing method or a different insertion of a zip or a different pocket construction, I think learning those things all along the sewing journey has really, really helped. And I can't wait to recreate some of those early makes and see how I get on. So I think that I'll leave it there for now, and I will put you in the very, very capable hands of the lovely Catherine. I cannot wait to see what you all come up with, and I can't wait to see your remakes and your reimaginings of your previous makes. Bye for now.
Hi! I can't believe it's here. It's the 1st of September. Thank you so much, Sam, for having me in your vlog. This is such an exciting day. Honestly, I can't believe that it is now time for Sew Phoenix September 25. How exciting. So it's my turn to have a little chat about the challenge, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to what Sam and Rachel have been telling you. I'm sure you're loving it so far, but it's my turn to have a little chat and talk about the challenge and how you can get involved. So obviously, this is such an exciting challenge, and we want to make sure that this challenge is available for everybody to join in if they would like to. So whether you started sewing a month ago or 30 odd years ago, this challenge is for you. So as we all know, whenever you learn to sew or learn a new hobby, but the sewing in particular obviously is focusing on this challenge, is that you will happen to make mistakes or things don't quite work out to plan. And that is something that I think every single person that sews has come across. So whether you, like I said, started sewing last month and the first thing you made was something like a tote bag and, I don't know, the handle didn't sew on right, or one of your seams is a bit wonky, or there's something that's just not quite right about it, this is your moment to make something again with the skills that you have learnt now. Now, this is particularly relevant also remembering that sewists come at all different stages of their sewing career or sewing life. And I was talking to my mum actually, and we were chatting about the challenge, and she said, well, actually, I'm not sure I really want to make something from my sewing past because I probably wouldn't wear that anymore. I think one example was that she said she made a denim jacket suit, which was epic, even made into newspapers. My mum was very cool. And yeah, she was just saying, well, I wouldn't wear that now. And I said that doesn't matter at all. This challenge is for everyone to recreate something from their sewing past. That doesn't have to be the thing you first ever made. It can be something that you made last week. And if it didn't go quite right, you can recreate it to its full potential now in September. So I hope that puts people at ease thinking, oh, well, I only learnt to sew a little while ago, or I learnt to sew decades ago, that actually this challenge is for everybody to get involved, and we would love to hear your stories and what you're making now. Right, now this is important bit. I've got a piece of paper here because I need to go through the rules of how you can take part. I mean, rules, we're not being strict, but just some guidelines that will be very helpful so that you know how to take part. So I'm going to go through these step by step. Apologies if I'm looking down, but I don't want to get any of these wrong. So the first thing is what I've just been chatting about. You need to recreate something from your sewing past. So from whenever that was, you can recreate it with the skills you have now and improve it. So yeah, recreating something from your sewing past. We have had some questions about whether we have to have a picture of the thing that you sewed in the past. No, you don't have to have a picture. Just include it in when you write up about your project, when you write up putting your challenge entry in, you can write up a little bit of detail about your previous project. There doesn't have to be photographic evidence. We are not being strict on this because we realise that actually sometimes you don't take pictures of the things that you weren't as happy with. But equally, you do take things that you are happy with, and you can have things that you are happy with but you want to improve on. So just putting that there too. And the second thing is that you're going to improve your project with the skills and knowledge that you have now. So you're going to make your sewing project even better than it was the first time. And I think that's the most exciting part about having a hobby like sewing, is that we are learning all the time, and you learn new skills and new ways of doing things within sewing that mean that, yeah, future projects are just going to be better than they were before you had that knowledge. And then the next thing is that you need to share your recreation on Instagram, and you need to tag all of us in it. We're going to put all the details down below of our tags on Instagram, what our handles are, and also you can also apply by email if you don't have a public Instagram account and you'd rather not do that. We want to make sure this challenge is open to everybody worldwide, and anybody that wants to enter can. So if you would like to not do it on Instagram, just email us, which is sewphoenixseptember@gmail.com, and we can accept entries that way as well, and we'll make sure we put you into the prize draw. So yeah, tag us all. We are Rachel at the French Seams, Sam, So Let's Sparkle with Sam, and Catherine, Sew to Makery. So hopefully that's helpful, and we'll make sure we put the tags down below, like I said. You must use the hashtag SewSeptember. Hold on, I've got it wrong. Rewind. So Phoenix September 25 is the hashtag that you must put in so that we can see your lovely recreations. And if you have got a WIP that you're working on, a work in progress, you can also put these on Instagram with So Phoenix September 25 WIP, and then we can see what you're getting up to and how you're getting along. And then last of all, we wanted to say that we hope that this will be a brilliant opportunity for sewists to connect with other sewists. I mean, I was very lucky and got to talk on Stash Chats a couple of weeks ago, and it was wonderful to talk about how being on YouTube and Instagram and just getting to chat to fellow people online about sewing is a magical thing, and I've made so many friends through this, and we are really hoping that through this challenge people will be able to connect with other sewists on Instagram and make some friends, hopefully, which will hopefully be quite easy to do, we suspect, because when you are recreating these things, you're probably going to talk about things that you might have found tricky or things that you didn't go quite right, and we suspect that there will be quite a lot of people that might have found similar things challenging or tricky and have also found ways of conquering these issues, and we're hoping that'll be a lovely way to connect with others on Instagram and chat through our sewing woes and our sewing achievements. So yeah, we really do hope we can make some connections through this lovely challenge, which we are very excited to bring to you. And last but not least, I must do a little bit of a tease here, because you have seen Sam and Rachel and I today, but you're also going to see us in a couple of weeks' time. So the lovely Rachel is going to be coming onto your screens along with Sam and I in the middle of September, on September the 15th. And we're going to come to you with what we are planning on making, what projects we have done in our past, what we're going to recreate, and of course what fabrics we're going to make them in. So we cannot wait to see what you think of that, and we can't wait to hear what you are going to be doing for your Sew Phoenix September projects. It's just so exciting. I hope you're going to get involved. If you have got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us, and yeah, we cannot wait to see what you're going to get making. Thank you so much for Sam for having me in your video, and I can't wait to see you all soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, ladies, and thank you so much for staying to the end. I hope that you will join in our Sew Phoenix September 25 Instagram challenge. Don't forget to sparkle. Bye for now.